Hi folks, welcome back to my channel where I'm posting a new video every day until the end of October. So today is day 21 of the 2018 Inktober Art Challenge, and the word prompt from Jake Parker's official list is drain. And with my animal theme I did have to be a bit creative with coming up with an idea of what to draw today, and ended up taking my own photograph to work from. So I managed to persuade a garden snail to go and check out the drain in my garden, and voila, image sorted. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, comment and subscribe to my channel, and hit the bell icon as well if you don't want to miss out on any future videos. So on with the painting, and I'm using a few of my Ecoline coloured inks today, but I've actually switched in the black Ecoline ink for the Dr. P.H. Martin's black ink, since I've found the Ecoline black does seem to be drying almost purple. I don't know if this is just me, so let me know in the comments if this is something that you've experienced too. Anyway, for my snail painting I began by painting the snail first as opposed to the background, and that's mainly because I wasn't really sure exactly how to do the background, whether to do it detailed or loose or whatever, so I thought I could see what would look good once the snail was painted and go from there. Now, something I have noticed pretty recently is that I'm starting to rely less on my reference photos, and I think that's a good thing. What I've always tended to do before starting painting is to firstly draw an outline sketch in pencil as accurately as possible, which is a good place to start, but I've also typically including all the fine details too, like the markings on this snail's shell for example. But when it came down to painting it, I felt less concerned today about getting them exactly like the photo and happier for them to be similar. Now, that may be due in part to the fact that after laying down my initial layer of paint they were no longer visible anyway, and partly because I don't have hours and hours to render the painting exactly like the photo. But I think that some of it has to be due to an increase in confidence achieved through this daily practice that I'm doing, and that was one of my aims in general for taking part in the Inktober challenge. And let's face it, who is going to scrutinise my snail shell that closely anyway? And I think that's been part of the reason why I've been trying to loosen up my style of painting too, to move away from creating an exact copy of a reference photo and moving towards creating an artistic impression instead. So my process for painting the snail shell was to build up colour in layers today, being careful though not to lose the lighter colours underneath as I went through the painting, and letting the paper dry before adding the darker brown markings towards the end. So once the snail was dry, it was now time for the background, and at this point I still hadn't got much of an idea of what to do, as my photo was more detailed and focused on the snail, less so for the surrounding leaves and the drain. I knew that I didn't want the drain part of the painting to be super dark and take focus away from the snail, so I left it for a bit longer and worked on dropping in some loose leaves. And the way I did the leaves today was really fun, since although I used the wet on wet technique, I didn't wet the whole of the leaf all at once, just a bit of it at a time, and then drop some neat, I think it was bronze green, onto it and let it move around into the water more spontaneously and loosely, and I really like how it turned out. I really loved also dropping in other colours into it whilst it was still wet, and watching them bleed and blend together to create other colours which did look really pretty leafy green colours. It was just really fun, and I definitely want to practice more with using this style in the future. So finally it was time to tackle painting the drain, and I eventually chose to use the same grey ink that I used for the snail, just to kind of pull it all together rather than have it really dark and black. And almost hint that it was there, because it's not the most pretty of things, let's be honest, but it was part of the prompt so I had to put it in. So then I added a loose washy sepia ink to the foreground to try and balance it all out a bit, and marked in a few suggestions of some twigs. I also added some more sepia to the underside of the snail just to kind of make that look more contrasted and also more in shadow, and a little bit more colour and detail to the head of the snail as well. So then I just went in and added a little bit more colour to the drain area, and then went in with my splatters, which I do like to do at the moment. I just thought it looked a bit plain on the top half of the painting, but I didn't want to then go in and do lots of detail. So then that done, I went in finally with some of my fine liners, the white, black and brown. And with the white fine liner, what I like to do is just add it to the area I want to either lighten, and then just go in with a slightly damp paintbrush. And this worked really well for the effect and the texture on the top of the snail's head and on his foot there as well. So I really like doing that. It's really useful for adding highlights when you just want them to be a little bit more blurred. I also went in with the black and brown just to add a few more bits of detail and definition to those areas before this painting was done. So I really hope you've enjoyed this video. I really enjoyed painting it, and don't forget you can join me again tomorrow for another one, but please give this video a thumbs up, comment and subscribe if you haven't done already. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.